the mother dragon dropping some freaking bombshells on this shit on this chapter. So we see already that when Solomon and his gang goes to speak to the mother dragons, you find out that pretty much no one can go down there. It's literally like the dark continent for them, which we find out as well that actually in this continental rift, this is apparently a part of the world that wasn't even finished in Al-Matalan. I'm like, so what? Eli got a little bit lazy. It's like, oh fuck it, I've made these guys, I've made that corner. Well, just fuck it. Giant hole, put dragon in it, done. He's like, I'm fucking done. Like, I was like, okay. He just like apparently God isn't this almighty thing altogether, and he just left a single area filled with a giant fucking hole in it, and that's where the dragon lives. And the dragon actually was saying some very interesting shit about this, and found out, you know, about the whole Rook situation. And then another one interesting that I found is what Solomon said, that there are only two species in the world that hasn't fallen under the mind control, and one of them is the dragon herself, the mother dragon. We find out that her species, she's the last one of her kind, and they're the ones that live the longest. They've been around since humans have had magic. They had like an 8,000 year lifespan on them, for Christ's sake. And the red lions of the Isterka, which are pretty much the Falas. That's what they are. So it's made me wonder with what was happening in this chapter. A lot of things that what really became like future events in like Magi and how the world. I'm guessing that like maybe in the end, Solomon, as fucked up as it was, like he could only have one race. He finally realized maybe at the end that only one species can survive, or either because the world was being destroyed, so he could only put in one species. It's either one species he could put in or that, and then the only ones he could really keep in the humans. But then as well, he did keep the Phantomless as well, so maybe he was working on creating other kinds of like creatures as well. Like that's what Solomon was doing, but he didn't have enough time since he had to put Aladdin there. So I'm guessing that's what he did, and it was kind of interesting to find that out, that parts of the world, like the Dark Continent in the current world right now, and in the dark, like the whole dark world here, is pretty much the same in Armaturan and in the current world right now. So I thought that's some really interesting shit. And then Sheba, like, I gotta give the props in this chapter. You know, she did reassure him, saying, you know, that we'll always be on your side and all that. And even though like the dragon sign of dropping bombshell, saying, yeah, Hila like was this bright and brilliant, vibrant thing, but humans kept stealing Magoi, and it's losing its radiance and starting to come pitch black. So that is probably what happened in Almataran. Like, Gyokuen finally pushed Ela to the limits, and it turned black. Well, that's why we got the dark spot right now. That probably is just a part of the world that has literally lost all its Magoi. That is God there that has fallen into depravity. A whole being, which even Solomon said that it's God doesn't have emotions. It's just a big lump of power that happens, you know, give us life. And they're pretty much taking away from the life source right now just so they can create explosions and fly and do all this kind of crazy shit. And turning out that there is a bigger threat than God. Yes, someone is actually killing God himself, and that is David, as we see it at the end of this chapter. And a person who's been around for over like 800 years, and he created the whole towers 500 years ago. This guy has been taking Magoi, like, and where Solomon, his own son, has pushed him to that limit where he is going extreme with all those magics that he's probably using in there. He's gone to that far, and I'm guessing that he's pretty much now going to use like a pretty much a prototype of an extreme magic or something like that, and that's just going to make Eli go completely pitch black. And Solomon's going to have to save it with all these like Magis and all that, and then pretty much Gyokuen is going to cause an incident, and there we go. That's where the current timeline is. It was a really interesting chapter. I really did enjoy this chapter. It had a lot of things to talk about, and also saying at the end of this chapter we saw David and his staff as well that also has like the symbol on it as well. Maybe that's where we originate with the whole Djinn. Maybe that's where, you know, Solomon's wisdom. There's a lot of things, because that's the thing, we haven't seen Solomon actually use it yet, so maybe with his fight with David, that is when eventually we're going to see that. And overall, it was just a really enjoyable chapter. We had a lot of, you know, breakdowns from what the dragon gave us and all that, and just, you know, David, like freaking Solomon's father, trying to kill gods. And he's also like over 800 years old. What you got on that guilt? Like, what you got on that Gyoken? What you got on that like freaking Shahrazad? You only lived like 200, 300 years like that. David's 800. You can't top that shit. I mean, Ugo's trying to top that shit. I mean, he's in his 60s now, but overall, I really enjoyed this chapter. Definitely a lot of the information that we got on this one. I'd give this one like a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. Really good stuff. But next week, we're going to have a little mini arc about David. So we're definitely going into this Alma Toran arc for a while now. Like, heard a thing that she actually wants to do quite a lot more of this. So I'm guessing for like pretty much the whole year, we could be into Alma Toran, which I'm a little bit worried about. I don't want Alma Toran to be, you know, overstaying its welcome. I do like it, but then as well, I kind of want to get back to the current timeline right now. But I'll let you guys think about it in the comment section down below. But that's all for me, and thank you very much for watching. As always, remember, I'll see you guys